So you finally reached Act 3 in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and now all of these optional bosses and extra content are really smacking you around like a ragdoll. Hi, this is the noob, and I'll be showing you where to farm XP in Act 3, and more importantly, how to do it efficiently. If you find this video helpful, I appreciate a like, maybe even a subscribe. That means I'm doing something right. First, let's talk about where is the best place to farm XP. This spot nets you a couple million XP per run, and I think it's the most efficient spot to farm XP in Act 3. It's called the Dark Shores. It's located in the south of the map. When you enter Act 3, you're probably going to be around level 50. So this spot is going to be red for you. It's going to be too hard for you to beat. But I implore you to stuck to it and try and beat the first couple of mobs. This will immediately bump you to level 55. So let me talk about how you grind the Dark Shores. You will be using Verso. He's your main damage dealer here. All of the enemies in Dark Shores are vulnerable to light damage, so you will want to go into your Verso skill tree and unlock the skill called the Phantom Stars. That's your bread and butter in this farming strategy. It deals extreme light damage to all enemies and can break them, so that's the skill you're going to be using the most. I also sometimes use the Perfect Break, but that's less important. Now let's talk about Pictos and weapons. Coming into Act 3, you're probably using Dualiso weapon, which is useful because it gives you play again after base attack ability. So you're going to be using the base attack to basically fill up your AP. I'd recommend that you actually upgrade it to level 20 because you're going to need that perfection. It makes things easier. You can upgrade weapons in Act 3 at expedition flags, so just go ahead and do that. Now every base attack is going to give you 4 perfection. How about Pictos then? For your basic Pictos, you want to pick the ones that give you the most critical rate because you want to do critical shots as much as possible. So just slot in the ones that give you the highest critical rate. In my case, these are the 3 that give me the highest critical rate, and I'm going to go with these. So I don't really care about Pictos here except for their stat boosts. But there are some you got to take care of in the additional Pictos. So the reason that we have to do this in Act 3 is because we need to do the painted power Pictos. Because without it, we can't do enough damage to kill these guys. The fight would take forever and you'd probably die. All the other Pictos that you're going to be choosing are based on the weapon that you're using and doing the maximum damage. So those are the 2 deciding factors when choosing Pictos here. So Dualiso is based on base attack, and I'm going to take advantage of that because that's going to raise my AP and let me do Phantom Strike as many times as possible. So if you're using Dualiso, you're going to be using Augmented Attack to increase your base attack damage. You also want to use Energizing Attack because that's going to give you AP on base attack. And then the combo attack that gives you 1 extra hit with your base attack. You also absolutely need to have First Strike because your speed is not going to be good enough and you want to be the first to start the turn. Inverted Affinity is going to increase your damage by 50%. Immaculate is going to increase it by 30%, at least for the first couple of hits. And the Painted Power is the must-have Pictos here. This means that you need at least 57 Lumina points for these skills to be there, but you probably want to go more than that and include some other useful Pictos. For example, I like having the Breaker. If you want survivability and you have the Confident Fighter equipped, you can go for Confident as well because that's going to reduce the damage that you receive by 50%. And then there are these useful skills for the Dualiso weapon like the Empowering Attack and the Energizing Attack too if you've got it before. You might want to go for Roulette, but I don't like this skill at all. I don't like random chances. I think that the first offensive is useless in this case because your first hit is going to be the base attack, so you're not going to be doing too much damage. You can opt for Glass Cannon, for example, as another damage dealing Pictos. But if you feel like you're missing some AP points, you can let go of some of these skills and maybe use an energizing turn because it's going to give you 1 AP on every turn start. Or if you're lacking survivability, then consider using second chance because that's going to get you out of making mistakes. So here's the setup that I'm going to be using in my first fight against these dark enemies on the Dark Shores. I'm going to be having the augmented attack, the breaker, the combo attack, empowering attack, and energizing attack 1 and 2. The first strike is a must. Glass cannon is if you're feeling confident about your parries. Immaculate for the first hit. And then inverted affinity and painted power for even more damage. As far as your group setup goes, you want to have Luna because you want to get revived. And then for the third character, I recommend using Seal. And that's because Seal has this ability that you want to have and equip, and it's called the Intervention. The targeted ally plays immediately and gains 4 AP, which is going to be useful for charging your Verso. And don't forget to put painted power on all of your characters. Now let's go do the first fight. So because of our first strike ability on Verso, we're going to start first. You can do whatever you want with your other characters. But now that we're on Verso, with Dualiso weapon, you want to do 2 shots and then a base attack. And with the build that I've showed you, you should have 9 action points. Now you can use your Phantom Star skill. As you can see, it does quite a bit of damage, but at such a low level that I'm at right now, it's going to take a couple of these hits to finish off the enemy. But you gotta do these first couple of fights that are harder, because the first fight is going to bump your level up by 3 or 4 even. When you get to Seal, I recommend you charge your Verso again with Intervention, and then you can do the same trick again. 1 shot, 2 shots, maybe even a third, and then a base attack. And then Phantom Stars. You're going to be at S perfection already, so your damage is going to be high. Let's see what this does. So they're broken and they're below half health already. Now your only goal is to survive until Verso plays again and does his damage. And there, as you can see, I've defeated him without any damage to me, but using some dodges, using Verso's Phantom Stars, and I've jumped up like 2 or 3 levels. So do this a couple of times until you're leveled up enough, because we're going to be going to another place to get a weapon that's going to make this strategy even more effective. Oh, and by the way, these guys drop upgrade materials for your weapons, so don't worry about upgrading your weapons. Just keep on doing it until level 32, because you're going to be getting a lot of these materials from these guys. To make this XP farming strategy even more effective and perfect, and kill everything in just 1 hit, you gotta go to Crimson Forest, which is on an island next to the Endless Tower. At the end of this dungeon, you're gonna get a weapon that's gonna put you into rank S with Verso immediately, which will make his damage and Phantom Star unbeatable for the dark enemies. If you already finished this dungeon and don't need any help on how to do it, you can skip this part, but I'm gonna go and explain how to do this dungeon and what you need to do to get the weapon. So first of all, you want to get to this portion of the map where there's a path upwards and downwards. You want to go up the path first. You're going to see this statue with a sword that you need to interact with, and that's going to change the color of the level. Now you want to go left from that statue past these enemies and then drop down. That's where you find the second statue.
An advantage.
Now follow the path and you're going to come back to that point where you had an upwards and downwards path. We're going to go down this time. You'll find a flag here and then go right from the flag. Defeat these enemies using the Phantom Star again because they're dark enemies and they're vulnerable to light damage. And you're going to find the third statue you can interact with, and this will unlock the final boss of the Crimson Forest. Now go back to that flag, interact with this pool here and say yes. And this boss can be actually really tough, but if you've been following my guide so far, it's easily doable with the Phantom Star and CL using that ability to fill up your AP. So here's the sped up fight that I did, so you can see the skills that I've been using and how easy it was for me with this build and at level 60. Because these guys are vulnerable to light as well. You just want to take care of the right guy with your attacks because he's immune to light damage. Once you've finished beating the boss, you can pick up this weapon. It's already going to be a higher level than your Dualiso by this time. And we can go back to the Dark Shores for our farming. Go ahead and reset your attributes. Boost them up for maximum damage. I'm going to be changing my Pictos as well, because I'm not going to be using base attacks anymore. To get my AP, I'm going to be using Confident and Confident Fighter for sure, because my new weapon prevents me from healing. I'm going to be using Energizing Start 1 and 2 and Energizing Turn to get enough AP at the start, and then I can go fight these guys. Because of first attack, I'll be playing first, and with S Perfection, I can use Phantom Stars right away. I have enough AP, and the Phantom Stars are gonna break these guys and bring them close to death. Now I can use CL's ability to restart my turn with Verso and just finish him off. And that's the fight. Finished in 37 seconds. Now do this with the other two groups. Rest at the flag. And then at what point you're gonna upgrade your weapon high enough and get your level high enough to be able to kill them with 1 Phantom Stars. You can keep doing this because each run is gonna take about 2 minutes. You're gonna get about 2.8 million XP per run. So you'll be able to get about to level 70, 80, maybe even further if you're stubborn enough. And there you have it, guys. That's a full guide on the best method for farming XP in Act 3 of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. If you found this video helpful, it would be much appreciated if you left a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you expeditioners around. This is the Noob signing out. S'en va dans l'oubli éternel et